Good morning, I'm Amar Singh Pradhan. Let's begin with the top stories this hour. Demonstrations held across the country demanding justice for rape and murder victim Nirmala Pant. Public outraged over failure to identify perpetrator even in 52 days. Chief of Army Staff Thapa holds meetings with foreign diplomats without the foreign ministry's approval. Trend of breaching existing protocol prevails. US President declares a disaster in North Carolina where Hurricane Florence has killed 11 people amid warnings the worst is far from over. At least 14 killed by Typhoon Mangkhut in the Philippines. And Bangladesh gets off to a flying start in the Asia Cup with a crossing 131 runs victory over Sri Lanka. Protests were held across the country yesterday demanding fair investigation into the rape and murder of 13-year-old Nirmala Pant of Kantipur. The demonstrators flagged the government and police administration for the failure in identifying and punishing the perpetrator despite passing away of 52 days since the gruesome incident took place. A massive protest was staged in Kathmandu demanding justice for Nirmala Pant yesterday. Protesters were outraged towards the failure of the police department in booking the guilty. They said that the police itself had allowed the perpetrator to run scot-free, destroying evidences and arresting an innocent man. The protest is staged to pressure the government to provide justice to Nirmala Pant, witnessed spontaneous participation of right activists, writers, actors, law practitioners and the public at large. The body of the 13-year-old was found nearby her house on 16th of July. As the police failed to identify the perpetrator even after almost 2 months since the incident, the victim's parents are currently in the capital seeking justice for their daughter. Meanwhile, the government has suspended 5 police officers, including a DSP of the Central Investigation Bureau, citing their failure to probe into the rape and murder of a girl child, Nirmala Pant. The officers were suspended based on the preliminary report prepared by the high-level committee led by Joint Secretary Hari Prasad Mainali. The committee formed to look into the case submitted the report to Home Minister Ram Bahadur Thapa earlier yesterday. The suspended officers are DSP Angur GC of CIB, DSP of Kanchanpur Police Office Gyan Bahadur Sethi, Police Inspectors Jagdish Bhatt and Yokendra Khadka, and Sub-Inspector Ram Singh Dhami. Erstwhile DSP from Kanchanpur, Diliraj Bista, was already suspended regarding the case. The Nepal Police Headquarters is currently investigating on the Central Investigation Bureau itself after Dilip Singh Bista, earlier posed as the main culprit by the Bureau, turned out to be the innocent person. And let's move on to some national political events. Apart from in special situations, the Chief of Army Staff is not allowed to hold parley with foreign diplomats. In a situation where a meeting is a must, approval is required from the Ministry of Defense and Foreign Affairs with a clear objective and agenda. Such a meeting must be attended by a representative of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. However, the trend of Nepal Army arbitrarily inviting foreign ambassadors at the military headquarters by ignoring the diplomatic protocol has prevailed in recent time. Newly appointed Chief of Army Staff Purna Chandra Thapa met with Indian Ambassador Manjeev Singh Puri a day after assuming his office. He also held a meeting with Chinese Ambassador Yu Hong 4 days later. Representatives of the Ministry of Defense and Foreign Affairs were nowhere to be seen in the meetings. In response to the query of our correspondent, the Foreign Affairs officials informed that it wasn't the first instance when Army has arbitrarily held parleys with foreign diplomats without abiding by the due procedures. Foreign Affairs doesn't fall under the jurisdiction of Nepal Army. Based on the Diplomatic Code of Conduct, prior approval is required from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for maintaining contact and holding parleys with foreign diplomats. However, let alone the permission of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Army hasn't even been officially notifying the concerned ministry except for verbal notice as a mere formality. Absence of coordination between Army and the Government didn't just draw the issue of Nepal's participation at the joint military drill of BIMSTEC nations into controversy, it also put to force Nepal's immature diplomacy among the international community. New Chief of Army Staff has been giving continuity to the wrong practices of the past by arbitrarily holding parleys with foreign ambassadors. The government, however, has appeared a mere spectator of the Army's activities. This clearly exhibits that the Army is not very willing to operate under the direct control of a popular government. It also is an evidence of the government providing a bit too much of leeway to the Army in the name of no interference. The failure of the two-third government to ensure diplomatic code of conduct and having the Army under regulatory control is not deemed as a good sign from the perspective of public supremacy. Welcome back. It has been almost 1.5 years since the Nepal Army was assigned with the responsibility of constructing the Kathmandu-Tharai fast track. However, not even a detailed project report or DPR has been prepared as of yet. This has increased doubts regarding timely completion of the project. After being assigned the project, the Nepal Army carried out tasks including putting up the temporary post, felling of trees at construction sites, purchase of construction equipment and building required infrastructures. The question that remains unanswered is regarding the delay in preparing of the DPR of the project, for which a track was opened 6 years ago. Indian company IL and FS had been eyeing this national pride project. However, the responsibility was assigned to the Army after the parliamentary committees insisted on construction of the project by the government itself. Expectations had increased among the public after the project, which was stranded for a long time, was assigned to Nepal Army. However, construction of the fast track has failed to gain momentum as expected. Even the call for bids has been obstructed in absence of the DPR. The total cost required for the construction of the project has also not been determined as well. Delay in preparation of the DPR for construction of the 76-kilometer long roadway hasn't just put to fore our technical inability and working mechanism, but has also raised doubts regarding if a project of the strategic significance is to be pushed towards uncertainty. The public had expected that they would be granted the rights provided by the federal government at the provincial and local levels after the implementation of federalism. However, they are still compelled to go to the center even for justice against the crimes like rapes and killings. The vibrant example of this scenario is the case of rape and murder of girl child Nirmala Pant in Kantipur. And in this context, we had asked the residents of Dhangadi why the people were still compelled to rely on the center rather than the local government to punish the perpetrators of heinous crimes as such. Let's take a look at what they have to say.
Public voice.
स्थानीय कानुन भन्दा पनि जो राष्ट्रिय कानुन हो अथवा संघीय कानुन त्यही कानुन अन्तर्गत कारबाही हुने भएको हुनाले पनि यो अवस्था आएको हुन सक्छ।
अधिकारका कुराहरूको संरक्षण गर्ने जुन संरचना छ त्यो संघीय सरकार अन्तर्गतकै संरचना हो।
जुन चाहिँ अधिकार स्थानीय निकायले पाउनु पर्ने हो त्यो अहिलेसम्म नपाएका कारणले गर्दा आम जनताहरूले दुःख र कष्ट भोगिरहेको अवस्था हामीले देखेका छौं।
यो अरु ढाँचा जस्तो भए पनि प्रहरीको भयो कानुन व्यवसायहरूको ढाँचा भन्दाखेरि यो केन्द्रीय ढाँचाले नै त्यो सञ्चालन गरिरहेको अवस्था छ। त्यसैले पनि खास गरी केन्द्रमा गएर केन्द्रबाट दबाब सिर्जना गरेर हुन्छ कि भन्ने एउटा जनताको झिनो आशा हो।
प्रदेश सरकारले चासो नलिएको हुनाले चाहिँ केन्द्रमा धाउनु पर्यो। प्रदेश सरकारले र स्थानीय सरकारले चासो लिएको भएदेखि निर्मला हत्याकाण्डको पत्ता पहिले नै लागिसक्ने।
यिनीलाई राजनीति के हो थाहा छैन, काम कर्तव्य अधिकार हाम्रो के हो भन्ने कुरा पनि यो थाहा छैन।
And now time for a segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And the question is, what do you term the parleys held against the diplomatic code of conduct? And options are option A, weak role of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and option B, intense affinity towards foreigners. The voting for that question is on. Type any WS, select your option A or B and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And now time for sports update.
Sports news.
Bangladesh got off to a flying start to the Asia Cup with a crossing 137-run victory over Sri Lanka yesterday. Bangladesh, electing to bat first in the Dubai Stadium, bowled out in 49.3 overs after putting a total of 261 runs. Bangladesh's inning was built around a majestic 144 runs scored by the former skipper Musfiqur Rahim. His knock included 11 fours and 4 sixes and came off 150 balls. He was well supported by Mohammad Mithun, who scored 63 runs. The two put together 131 runs for the third wicket partnership. Lasit Malinga was the pick of the Lankan bowlers, claiming 4 wickets. Chasing 262 runs for victory, Sri Lanka lost wickets at regular interval to be bowled out for 124 runs in the 36th over. Dilruwan Pereira was the top scorer with 29 runs in a dismal batting display. Mustafi Murtaza, Mehdi Miraz and Musfiqur Rahim picked up 2 wickets each for Bangladesh. Hong Kong is pitted against Pakistan in today's encounter under Asia Cup. Liverpool and Chelsea have continued their winning run at the English Premier League. Liverpool saw Tottenham Hotspur 2-1 in the early kickoff played at Wembley Stadium earlier yesterday, while Chelsea secured a 4-1 win over Cardiff at Stamford Bridge. Jorginho Wijnaldum and Roberto Firmino scored a goal each for Liverpool in the crucial away match. Wijnaldum converted a corner in the 39th minute to end the first half at 1-0 for Liverpool. Firmino scored from a Sadio Mane assist in the 53rd minute to double their lead. Eric Lamela scored a late consolation for Tottenham Hotspur, the goal coming in the dying moments of the injury time. Liverpool now have 15 points from 5 matches as Spurs suffered the second loss of the season. Meanwhile, Chelsea secured a 4-1 win over Cardiff in the match played at Stamford Bridge, which witnessed a sublime hat-trick from Eden Hazard and the other goal from substitute Willian. Elsewhere in the Premier League, AFC Bournemouth registered a 4-2 win over Leicester City. Huddersfield lost to Crystal Palace 1-0 at home. Manchester City blanked Fulham 3-0, while Arsenal earned a 2-1 win over Newcastle United. Watford suffered a 2-1 loss at the hands of Manchester United in the late-night match yesterday. And those were our latest headlines. Stay with us for more news and entertainment on KTV SD. Good day.